Book Club. Today we are discussing, what's his name? Pablo? The Alchemist by, hold on, I got it here. Paulo Coelho, The Alchemist. Oh, and by the way, we tricked you because we were supposed to be discussing Ralph Lauren by Ralph Lauren, but we couldn't find the book. So it must be out of print. So we are discussing The Alchemist. And who wants to get, oh, by the way, this is Tamara Weber. I'm in Arizona. This is Teresa Fox,
Kansas City.
And
Ellen Vera from San Francisco.
And Bianca Mendez from San Diego may or may not be joining in. So who wants to start?
Do you want me to start, ladies?
Sure.
Please.
Okay, looking at my notes, let's see. God speaks to us in the language of dreams, and I believe this to be true. I think that that's not the case for everybody, but for me, I do believe that's the case. Everyone has a clear idea how everyone else should live their life, but when it comes to themselves, they do not, which I think that is also true. Personal legend is more clear when you're younger. So it talks, basically the personal legend in this book is talking about your life purpose. And I think that that is very true. It talks about when you're younger, you have this vision for your life. And it is very clear as a child because when you get older, it gets clouded by just everyday tasks and everyday living, and it's easy to get wrapped up into that. So I think that is very true. So I always try to think back when I was a child, what were things that I wanted to be? Because sometimes it's even hard to figure out, you know, and they say, oh, what's your passion or what do you love? I have to think about when I was a child to remember. Let's see, when you really want something, that desire was formed in the soul of the universe, and that is your true mission. I love that. The soul of the world is nourished by people's happiness. When you're younger, you can see what you want more clearly, but when you get older and it gets hard to tell, people respect the baker more than they respect the shepherd. And that is very true. So in the book, the gentleman that became the baker, he wanted to actually travel the world and be a shepherd. Do you remember this? But he chose to be a baker because bakers are more respected. So he actually didn't follow his heart's desire because of the image. He was concerned about his image, which I thought that was interesting.
So, okay. Teresa, can I ask you, I'll confess, I didn't read the book. Can I ask you, but the baker and the shepherd, are those metaphors for something? Or is that literally, is he talking about a baker and a shepherd?
He's literally in the book talking about a baker and a shepherd. Like, people had more respect for a baker than they did a shepherd. Because the shepherd's living out in the fields with the herd, where you've got a baker that has a established business. So it's kind of like nowadays, you know, you're going to have more respect maybe for, I don't know, like when you have kids.
The attorney then, like, I don't know.
Musician. The kid that has the dream of being a musician, but their parents say, you need to be an attorney or a doctor. You need to have a respectable career versus following your heart, even if your heart is in music.
Okay.
Maybe.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it's basically taking the job.
Send it to you.
It's basically taking the job that's going to pay your bills versus taking the chance on following your dream.
Okay.
That's what he means in the book.
Okay.
People become more concerned about what people think of a baker than a shepherd, and it becomes more important than what their personal legend, their actual purpose is in life. And that's what we were just talking about. Let's see, if you start out giving away what you haven't even earned yet, you'll lose your energy. So he talks about how he was going to pay him with the money he was going to get from the treasure he was going to find. And I think it was the king told him, don't pay me with money that you haven't even gotten yet, because you'll lose the energy to find the treasure. Once you realize what your personal legend is, it gives you, he called it beginner's luck. And so basically he's saying that once you figure out your life purpose and you start doing it, you're going to have beginner's luck. You're going to have these breaks that supposedly the universe whets your appetite with, and that makes you thirst for more. But he also says, at the end, he talks about, I'm trying to see, he goes back at the end of this and he says, you have beginner's luck, but you don't, it's only that. And one of the quotes I know that I clipped on here was, the night is always darkest right before the daylight. And basically he says, you're going to have beginner's luck, but you are going to go through pain and suffering to reach your destiny. It's a given. And that the night, when people are, that's when people give up. When the night is the darkest, when it gets the hardest, that's when people give up. And that's right when the dawn breaks, if you don't give up in the darkest part of the night. So I thought that was really, really a neat part of the book. Winter people come together and they, I'm not sure what that is even. I think I was driving and listening and speaking into it, so sometimes my words don't come out in my notes. I have no idea what that note means. Let's see. If we focus on the present every day and we focus on making the present better, then that makes our future better. So it's the little details every day that we focus on, just like our prospecting, on our systems. If we work on those little things every day, we are actually working on our future. If you focus on the present moment, hi Bianca.
She was having trouble getting in. We were working on it.
Let's see. I thought this was interesting. God only reveals our future to us when it can be altered. It's almost like he places a thought in our minds or in our dreams, and it's basically giving us the opportunity to maybe see a different path that we can take, and change the way that we're moving forward. Let's see. There is no reason to love, just to love. There's no reason that you don't have to have a reason to love. Love itself is a good enough reason. I thought that was sweet. Let's see. Wherever your heart is, that is where you'll find your treasure. I think we've all heard that quote many, many times. And one of the big takeaways from this book is it reminds me of the Tony Robbins, the book that we just read, and his YouTube videos when he talks about stop and listen to your heart. This book is, the basic gist of this book is to listen to your heart and go after your destiny. And so it reminds me of when Tony Robbins stops. That's one of his meditation things, is he stops and he gives gratitude towards his heart. And he asks his heart to keep speaking to him, and basically that's the same thing. He suggests never to ask your heart, please don't ever stop speaking to me and directing me and giving me those gut instincts, and having an appreciation for your heart and who you are and who you crave to be. Being comfortable in your own skin and loving yourself and having gratitude for who you are as a person, being authentic. And let's see. Whatever you possess, great treasures, and fun, and like basically haters are going to hate. Whenever you have a gift, he says that people are going to hate you for it. Everybody plays a part of history in the world, and when it's happening, they don't realize it. So basically, things are happening, and you don't realize the people that you're affecting in your life and in your world. And we've talked about that before, where, you know, it's like, what are we doing all this for? What's it all for? And it's always reassuring to me to know that maybe I'm touching someone else's life, maybe I'm encouraging someone else, you know, to suck it up and dig themselves out of a hole and believe in themselves. So yeah, I still don't understand this book. This is the second time. This is the second time I have read this book, and I still don't understand the ending. So if anyone can tell me their take on the ending, I still don't get it. Where he says he realized what his treasure really was. Was that just the experience of the journey? Was that the treasure? I'm still up in arms, like, okay, I still don't get it. I still don't get it. So please, someone, tell me. What I feel like there's like this peak at the end of the book, and I'm just missing it. So feel free.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same way as you. Like, I felt like, what am I missing here? I've heard numerous people say that this book changed their life, that it was, you know, the best book they've ever read. They read it once a year. And, you know, kind of when I read it, I'm like, yeah, I kind of get it. But actually, in the very end, that scene that you're discussing, that part did have meaning to me. I felt like, yeah, exactly that. Just that, you know, yeah, you could have just stayed here the whole time and found your treasure, but you wouldn't have seen the pyramids, and you wouldn't have, you know, and he lists all the things that he wouldn't have experienced. And that, yeah, that is the point. The journey is the point. It's not the destination. It's not the treasure that you get. It's who you become along the way, what you experience along the way. And one of my favorites, one of the scenes from the book that had the most meaning for me personally was when he was talking about, he had met that other woman, which I was a little confused about the two women, because the first woman, yeah, there was like two women they was in love with, but basically he was going to stay there with the woman that he met by the fountain or the well. And the king was telling him, yeah, you could stay here, and here's exactly what would happen. You would be, you know, okay, happy the first year, and then you know, the second year this would happen, and then in the third year the omens would stop talking to you because you're not listening, and in the fourth year you would basically be miserable, kind of like the baker and even the crystal salesman. Remember the guy, you know, he gave up on his dreams too. So for me, it was kind of saying, you know, yeah, it's easier to not put yourself out there, to take all that risk, to go through all the challenge, go through all the hardship. But if you don't follow your dreams and pursue your dreams, I mean, you're just not going to be fulfilled, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Or you're settling. He would have been settling to stay because he was too afraid to take the risk of following his heart's desire, his dream.
Yeah, exactly. So Bianca, I know you love this book, you've mentioned. So yeah, tell us what your favorite parts were.
Honestly, I really like this book. I like the book because of what it talks about, the omens.
Wait, talk a little louder.
Okay, hold on. Let me put up my volume here.
Okay.
Can you hear me better now?
A little bit.
Okay. So basically, what I see is that I really like the part about the omens. You know, there was a part where he said that humans like to live in the past or the future, right? Because the past, he mentioned something about that, right? And that if you lived in the present, it doesn't matter what happens. I like his mindset that he acquires from the wise people. Because even when he was going to die, he said, well, he thought about it really quick. While I lived my life to the fullest I traveled, it would be just as good a day to die today than any other day, you know, when he was in front of the alchemist. And these wise people teach him a mindset throughout his journey. And so, and the omens are part of the wise people, part of the wise words, part of the wise signs, right? but do we pay attention to them, or are we caught up? And I related to myself, like sometimes I'm such in a hurry and I do stupid things because I'm in a hurry all the time that I am not paying attention. You know, a perfect example, I went to Walmart yesterday. Even on a Sunday, I'm in a hurry. You know, I went to Walmart and I paid and I left, and I had left my card right there because I'm trying to get home to make dinner and do all the other things I have to do. And so that's not paying attention, like living in the present, like, you know, sometimes it's, so anyways, I realized that I'm in my future many times. I'm never in my past. I don't like to go to my past, but I'm definitely more in my future. So like taking that deep breath and living in my present. I liked his awareness. I liked how he paid attention to things. I liked how he was creative. You know, how he gave these ideas to the people. I like how people thought him like a young kid and maybe not even the smartest and all this, but yet he was so wise and so intelligent, you know? And then before it talked about I like how it talked about the universal language. And love is a universal language. It's part of that universal language. I loved how they talked about that when we die, we become the world, like, you know, we go into the animals and into the mountains, and our soul becomes part of the soul of the world or something like that, you know, like reincarnation in a way. And I really liked a lot of, okay, one of the things that made me absolutely love this book was that the region in which he is traveling, except for the desert, is what I visited in March. So I could literally see the fields and the pastures in Spain, the people and that in Spain. And then even in Tangier, the city where he was in Morocco, I was in that city. The sand, the people, I mean, I was just there. And the Arabs speaking Spanish and Arabic, and that part was absolutely astounding to me because I was just there. So I was almost able to live that part, you know?
And tell us about the part about the oil in the spoon, because Bianca had to explain this to me. Like, it just went over my head completely, but I think it's really interesting.
Okay, do you guys remember the part where he went to the king's palace and the king gave him the spoon and put the 2 drops of oil in there, and he said, go look at my palace. And then the kid was so worried about dropping the oil in the spoon that he came back, and the king said, hey, did you see the palace? He goes, no, but, you know, I still got the 2 drops of oil here in the spoon. And then he goes, no, go back. Look at my gardens. Look at the views. Look at the palace. Look at the, you know, everything that we have. And he goes, okay. So he sent him back off, and he looks at all of that, and he comes back. He goes, now where's the oil in the spoon? He was like, I dropped it. I don't know. He said, go and see everything you want to see, but never drop the oil in the spoon. And what that meant to me was that the oil in the spoon is your responsibility. It's your home. It's your children. It's your financial responsibility, right? It's like, go see the world, go travel, go do, think big, be big, but never drop the oil in the spoon. So what that being said is, like, right now, Mike Ferry has an event where we're supposed to spend like $10,000 on an item at the mall, at the high-end malls there. And I'm debating whether I should go because I have some things I need to take care of. So it's like, I want to travel and I want to see, because see, if it wasn't for Mike Ferry and me being a risk taker, I would have never have seen France. I would have never seen Europe and Spain and Africa, and literally be reading a book that was telling me about this. When would I ever think that? Like, oh my God, because I'm not a huge book reader. I've barely started reading books recently. You know what I mean? That all of a sudden I'm like been to this place that they're talking about. I would have never been able to be exposed to all those things if I wouldn't have taken those risks, right? So now that we're doing the financial class, it's like thinking, okay, how do I not drop the oil in the spoon and still travel and be a risk taker and go and do and be. So that's kind of why that story really impacted me.
I love that, Bianca.
Yeah, I felt like that once Bianca explained it to me what that meant. To me, it's kind of like how Mike, you know, teaches us to think big and have our vision board and dream big and think positive. But also at the same time, you can't lose sight of, you know, not getting yourself into debt, right? You know, upgrade everything, but don't go out and buy such an expensive car that you're creating a lot of debt for yourself. So yeah, I think the two go hand in hand, and it's something that I've really come to learn over the last few months, that whole concept of, you know, keeping track of the oil in the spoon while you also enjoy the beauty of the palace.
Yeah.
See, that went right over my head when I heard it from the book, so.
Yeah. The other theme that I liked about the book was the whole idea that when you are on your path and you're following your personal legend and, you know, your passion, that the whole universe conspires with you to help you. Bianca mentioned, you know, the omens, and like, again, back when the king was telling him, yeah, you could stay here and stay safe, but then the omens will stop talking to you. It's that idea that, you know, that you won't have that support of the universe if you're just playing safe, being complacent.
Do you think that is like the innovative ideas like he had in the crystal shop where he said, let's serve the tea in the crystal glasses? Wouldn't you call that what that is?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because the shopkeeper had become very complacent. He was just satisfied with the status quo. And in fact, he even said, you know, if I get that busy, I'll have to take more effort, you know. And the other part I thought was interesting was when the shopkeeper was talking about the one thing that he hasn't done, which was to make the pilgrimage to Mecca, and how he was afraid that that's what kept him excited about life, is having that out there, and that he was afraid if he made that trip to Mecca, he wouldn't have anything to be looking forward to, or he would get there and it'd be disappointing. I mean, how silly, like, but I mean, I think we all do that. We have those fears that come up that it won't be the way we want to, and it's the thing that holds us back, or we're, you know, if we get that, then what else would we have to strive for?
The Englishman was a pessimist.
Wait,
the Englishman. The Englishman, he was a pessimist.
Yeah.
He was the analytical.
Oh,
that's not fair.
No, it's okay. And not every analytical is a pessimist. My neighbor is analytical. He's so not pessimist. He's very optimist. But I'm saying that he was so caught up in the theory and the process and the being perfect, and he was too scared to take the risk. And he was, you're not learning the right way. And maybe it was not even just analytical, it was being righteous, right? Being righteous. And the kid was like, well, we all learn in different ways, and there's, you know. But
I think you're right. I think he was being analytical because he was overthinking it. He was wanting it to be too perfect. He was, you know, there's that whole saying, like, we either plan to fail or we fail. We don't plan to fail, but we fail to plan. But I think people that fall into that personality style, the analyticals, they can over plan and never take action. Right?
Well, this is in the freeze.
Yeah, they're in a freeze.
Ellen, did you read the book?
I'm sorry, what?
Did you read? Were you able to read the book?
I'm always fascinated in hearing how people interpret books like this that are so highly allegorical, and it's something that I've always struggled with because it's not my preferred way to learn through stories and allegories. I've always had a tough time with it, like just being impatient with it. But it's interesting how three people can read the same book and have very different viewpoints of it. kind of, it's interesting. So let me ask you this, what was it about, what is the big lesson you're getting out of this book? There seems to be a lot of individual lessons coming out of it, but what spoke to you in particular?
The universal language.
So what does he mean by, what is the universal language? What is the, I know you said it's love. What do you mean by that?
Okay, so I'm going to explain to you this part, well, how I see it, right?
Okay.
We're prospecting, like right now you're communicating universal language. You're pensive, you're confused, you're a little bit like, you know, thinking, you're willing to, you're communicating something without saying anything, right?
My facial expression, yes.
Your energy, right? People's energy is the universal language. You see what I'm saying? Like the guy, when he cleaned the crystals and he brought new energy to the store, he made the what was it, the display, and he took it outside, and he had energy to create, to make money, to bring the people to buy the pieces, his enthusiasm, his willingness to do something different. He communicated that, therefore the world responded to him.
Okay, so so the universal language is energy.
So, and then the sheep, right? The sheep and the horse, they taught the boy a lot about life. The sheep told them when they wanted to eat, when they were scared, when it was the sheep that told him something. When, remember, he traded the camel for the horse, and he was like, I don't know how to read the desert. I'm new to the desert, but he knew how to read animals. And when they were walking in the desert, the animal went like halted, but because there was a snake under there, he communicated. He read it. He said, well, my animal's telling me that here there's something. He read the sign because he was paying attention to his animal. And sure enough, the snake was under the rock, and the alchemist found it. So it's the energy. He reads the animals. The animals, it's almost like when you're going to get bit by a dog. If you act scared, they attack. If you do not act scared and you confront them, they will halt, right? Or there's a language that is spoken without words. And it's the universal language. You can go to a country and show that you're angry and you're upset, or you can go and you can show passion or love. It's the words you use without, it's the language you speak without words.
Very true.
So
well, Tony Robbins video, well, the video that we sent out this morning, it had Tony Robbins, a clip in there, and he talks about priming your mind every morning for 10 minutes at the least. He primes his mind and his energy. Do you remember hearing that?
Yeah.
It's like a muscle. The energy that he's going to take into the day. He primes it up and gets it ready.
Yeah. So for me, my big takeaway of the book was, you know, to follow your dreams, pursue your dreams, even though it's hard, even though it's scary, and that's really the whole point, is to have the courage. And when you do that, you're supported by the universe. That was kind of my takeaway from the book.
And you're fulfilled. That when you follow your heart's desire and you don't settle for anything less, you live a life of fulfillment and peace. Like you're at peace with, because you've done it all and you've experienced it, and you know what's out there. Instead of settling and staying, and you stop getting messages from the universe of, you know, this is what you should do. You live it, and that's the whole purpose of life. Your heart tells you that path to follow, because it's different for everybody. Your heart gives you the nudge of, I should do this, and not be afraid.
Or be afraid.
You're going to be afraid, but get past the fear and do it anyway.
Yeah.
Because that's really living.
I want to ask you guys this, and what is, like, the alchemist? You know, obviously an alchemist is someone who creates something from nothing. Like, is there a point I'm missing there?
I think I Googled that the last time. I wondered that too. I was like, what does that even mean?
Now, isn't it, I mean, an alchemist is someone who takes raw material and turns it into gold, right? Isn't that what an alchemist does? Like a base metal, like iron or steel, and then he can turn it into gold?
Could be. I'm going to Google it. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't sure if it was specifically gold or just something of value. But I mean, I guess allegorically it could be, something of value.
It's a type of chemistry, especially in the Middle Ages, that dealt with trying to find a way to change ordinary metals into gold.
Okay. So
and trying to find medicine that would cure any disease. A process that is so effective that it seems like magic is the literary definition of it.
Yeah, so I think the point there is that it can seem magical. And so maybe the reason why that was used in the book is because when we're pursuing our passions and our dreams and our goals, and we're being supported by the universe, it can seem magical. Do you think that's what the point of that was?
I think that every day we in this business and how we're taught, we create. We have the opportunity to create every day. We're creating with our energy and enthusiasm, nothing to something. Therefore, there's alchemy in that.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm an expressive. I can't stop talking. Wait, this is what my coach has on my desk. Anyway, but also in the book he has the ability to turn the metal into gold, and people want that instant, like, if I just had that instant ability to do that. And what he's basically teaching in the book is that's not what it's all about. It's not about the gold. It's not about the ability to make the gold. So it is about the magic of the process of creating the fulfillment. It's not about the magic of turning the metal into gold. That's the way I took it. I'll shut up now.
No, I thought that was good. That's good. Love your coach.
Carol, I love you.
Yeah. All right. So next week we are going to discuss Richard Branson, The Virgin Way. We had to skip the next book on the list because we couldn't find that one either. So Richard Branson, The Virgin Way, and as a bonus, you can watch the TED Talk, something like The View from 30,000 Feet, and compare contrast to the book. It's a humdinger. We might need to split it into 2 weeks. How many hours is it?
11 and a half.
11 and a half hours. So.
Wow. Holy smokes. I know he's written a few books. Is this The Virgin Way? Is this wasn't there another one we were talking about? With
Girls, I have to go.
Okay.
Okay, we'll talk later.
Bye.
Bye. What was the other book? You're saying there was another book we talked about?
Wasn't there another book that Richard Branson, Losing My Virginia? Okay, that's my virginity. That's
Losing My Virginia.
My Virginia. He also wrote a book, Screw It, Let's Do It, Lessons in Life. I'm looking up on Amazon. How fun.
Well, I don't know. What do you guys think? Which one? Should we lose our Virginia?
Lose our Virginia. I don't know what I'm looking at. Okay, this might be a good start. The Virgin Wave. This is his where he talks about how he built his business.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm saying, like, if we want to change that to a different one, I'd be open to it.
Screw It, Let's Do It is only a 6-hour book, and then Finding My Virginity is a 16-hour book.
Oh my God.
Okay, now the 6-hour book, when did that come out?
Which book?
The 6-hour book, or which one gets more stars?
The most stars is The Virgin Way. It has almost 4,000 reviews.
Let's do that one. Let's do that one, even if we have to split it over 2 weeks.
Okay.
So, all right.
Wow.
Nice to see you again. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Okay. Have a great.
Bye.
Okay.